Hey y'all, it's Kelly Clarkson with Wayfair, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. Picture this. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app when you spot it. A brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Is it possible that by trying not to lead, you're not just stepping back, but you're creating a vacuum? And here's where this gets really interesting, because a lot of people misunderstand what it means to be yourself. They think it means be less intense. It means to be more agreeable, to go with the flow, tone it down, blend in. Don't dominate. Don't take up too much space. But what if being yourself means showing up fully? What if when you don't do that, you don't create harmony, you create incongruence?
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govind Jayaraman.
Hi, I'm Govind Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode 350, How Time Flies, and the 30th edition of an Edge of the Napkin episode. So I wonder if you've ever found yourself holding back, not because you didn't have something to offer, but because you were trying to fit into a moment and what you thought it might require. Maybe you've stepped back in a room where you normally lead. Maybe you've chosen silence when something inside you said, I normally would say something here. Or maybe you tried to be a version of yourself that felt just a little bit off. And if you've ever noticed that tension, that quiet misalignment, lack of congruence between who you are and how you're showing up, then you're just going to feel this one. Because in this episode, we're not talking about leadership the way most people define it. We're exploring something deeper about what it means to be yourself all the time. What does it mean to lead even when you're not in charge? And how do you show up in a way that brings confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution into every room you walk into without needing to control it? There's a moment in this conversation, one simple observation that shifts everything. It's a reframe that invites you to look at the environments you're in and ask a very different question about what you're seeing and why. And as you listen, you might begin to notice where you've been holding back and where you've been adapting and where the opportunity might be to show up just a little more fully as yourself. Because sometimes the leadership a room is missing isn't out there. It's already in the room, just waiting for you. Let's dive in. There's a quiet tension that shows up in rooms that most people don't even notice. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it doesn't announce itself, but if you've trained yourself, if you've done the work, if you've paid attention, then you can feel it. It's the tension between someone who is and who they are trying to be. So, this week, I saw it again. Actually, I didn't even see it. I wasn't there. I heard about it. And it wasn't in a room full of amateurs. And it wasn't in a room full of people figuring it out early on in their journeys. No, it was in a conversation with one of the most powerful leaders I know. We were talking about his recent experiences, and over the past few weeks, he'd made a conscious decision to step back, to take a back seat, to not lead. Not because he couldn't, not because he didn't want to even, because he was trying something. He was experimenting with presence. He was observing the room, and he was choosing intentionally to let others step forward and just watch what might happen. And what struck me most was not really his words, but the tone behind them. He wasn't frustrated. He wasn't complaining, and he wasn't judging. He was simply observing. There are some things that just haven't quite worked, he would say. No blame, no story, no truth. In fact, he was amused by it, and he'd been watching it unfold for weeks. So I was trading voice notes with him, and we talked through it. The three of us, myself, another guy, and this person, and we explored it. We turned it around from different angles, and then something interesting came up for me. A question, and it's a question, and it's a simple one that carries weight when you really sit with it. And it's truly, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And I paused because I knew what was coming next, and I really wanted it to land. I wonder if you're seeing a lack of leadership in the room. If you're seeing a lack of structure, is it possible that what you're actually seeing is the absence of you? And what followed was interesting. It wasn't silence, and it wasn't uncomfortable silence, and it wasn't the kind of silence that even signals that something landed. It was just silence of contemplation. And I continued by asking, is it possible that by trying not to lead, you're not just stepping back, but you're creating a vacuum? And here's where this gets really interesting, because a lot of people misunderstand what it means to be yourself. They think it means be less intense. It means to be more agreeable, to go with the flow, tone it down, blend in. Don't dominate. Don't take up too much space. But what if being yourself means showing up fully? What if when you don't do that, you don't create harmony, you create incongruence? And here's the problem. When a natural leader, when a great leader steps back too far, a few things happen that's kind of inevitable. It's inevitable, but doesn't happen quickly, and not always immediately, but absolutely every single time. Decisions slow down, energy drops, clarity disappears, ambiguity steps in, accountability can soften, structure often gets blurry. And it's not because the other people in the room aren't capable. It's because the system has changed. And the system was relying, whether consciously or unconsciously, on that leader's full presence, even possibly as a follower. So I think what really happened to change the conversation was when I asked, what if you don't need to take a back seat, but you just needed to show up as yourself, but differently? What if you can still be a leader, even if you're not the one in charge? And that's, I think, where things clicked. And this isn't a new idea for me. I was very young when I heard this concept at first. I was blessed to have parents who had a mentor, and his name was Rishi Prabhakar. So Rishi Prabhakar shared something that has stayed with me over these decades. He was a really fascinating man. He got his MBA, had all the credentials, all the conventional markers of success, and then he just walked away and he chose a different path. A path of teaching, a path of philosophy, a path of exploring deeper truths about how we show up in the world. And one of the lessons and ideas he spoke about passionately was this, that leaders can and should follow, but they must follow as leaders, not as followers, as leaders. So what does it mean to follow like a leader? And this is where most people get stuck, because we've been taught to think about this in really binary terms. A leader's in charge and a follower's not in charge. A leader speaks, a follower listens. A leader directs, the follower executes. But that's not how high-performing systems and structures actually work. In the best environments, leadership is fluid. It moves and it adapts and it changes and shifts depending upon the content, expertise, and energy. Even the timing can matter. And in those environments, the most powerful people in the room are not always the ones who lead. They're the ones who can follow like a leader. And let's break this down a little using the magnetic leadership framework that I talk about. Because if you're going to follow like a leader, you need to anchor yourself in the same 4 pillars: confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution. Confidence, knowing who you are. Following like a leader doesn't mean shrinking. It means standing firmly in who you are without needing to dominate the room. Confidence shows up as asking powerful questions, offering perspective without attachment, holding your ground when needed, and supporting.
Imagine you're a business owner relying on a dozen different software programs. Each one is expensive, overly complicated, and worst of all, none of them are connected. It can be incredibly stressful, right? Now, picture Odoo. CRM, accounting, inventory, manufacturing, marketing, HR, and more. Odoo brings all the tools your business needs into one simple platform, and all seamlessly connected. Everything works together, giving you the peace of mind that your business is running smoothly from every angle. Odoo's open source applications are user-friendly and designed to scale with your business, saving you time and money. Say goodbye to juggling multiple platforms and hello to efficient integrated management. Stop wasting resources on complicated systems and make the switch to Odoo today. Visit odoo.com, ODOO.com, and discover how Odoo can simplify and streamline your business operations. Odoo, modern management made simple.
Decisions when made. It's not loud, it's not aggressive, it's certain. And congruence, aligning your actions with your truth. And I think this is where my friend got caught. He was trying to behave in a way that didn't match who he naturally is. And the room felt it because people don't respond to what you say. They respond to what you are. And when you're incongruent, your energy is off, your presence can come off as being diluted, and your impact is definitely reduced. Following like a leader means that you don't abandon yourself. You express yourself appropriately in the structure that you're there. Calm, regulating the room. Leaders don't just bring ideas, they bring state. And when you follow like a leader, you become a stabilizing force, especially when things get messy. Calm can look like not reacting emotionally to chaos, slowing things down when needed, creating space for clarity, and grounding others without overpowering them. This is where real leadership shows up. And what was very stark for me was those very words were said to me recently when I was supporting another situation that I was not leading, but I was following. And I followed like a leader by offering help. And someone said, yes, sometimes it's very good to have a big, strong person here, because I was offering physical strength in that situation too. But the person also said, but it's also great to have a very calm person here that just grounds everyone. That was following with calm. Finally, the 4th pillar, contribution, adding value without needing credit. And this is the ultimate test. Can you contribute without needing the recognition of being the leader, without needing the control, without needing to be right or to have might? Following like a leader means that you're there to make the structure better, not your ego and not for yourself. So let's talk about supporting a leader who's struggling. And that's taking things a little bit further, because this isn't just about how you show up. It's about how we can support others, especially when that person who is leading is struggling. When a leader lacks confidence, you don't need to take over. You can build them up. Affirm what's working, reinforce their decisions, offer input in a way that strengthens them and their authority. When a leader lacks congruence, you can become a mirror, not through criticism because it's easy to point a finger, but through clarity. You can ask questions that reveal alignment or misalignment. You can reflect on what you're observing. You can stay grounded in the truth. You can ask questions and hold space and allow the pressure and noise to dissipate and for the congruence and alignment to reappear. When a leader lacks calm, you can regulate the room, slow things down, de-escalate the tension, bring the focus back to what matters. When a leader lacks contribution, you can step in, not to replace them, but to support the outcome, to fill the gaps of recognition, to move things forward and create momentum with people. So let's talk about sort of the practical failures of leadership and how you step in and make it real, because leadership breaks down in very predictable ways. Struggling to keep time, for example. You can gently bring attention back to the clock, summarize and move things forward, protect the flow of the meeting with kindness and support. Let's say, for example, there's no clear agenda. You can ask clarifying questions, propose structure, help organize the conversation by taking notes and making sure that the whole story arc is managed and documented. Let's say there's a capacity overload. You can take ownership of key pieces within the things that are falling apart. You can reduce pressure and help prioritize and confirm where the capacity needs to be focused. In the presence of over-fatigue, you can bring energy and enthusiasm. You can keep things moving and stay present where others fade. If there's a lack of direction, you can offer perspective, re-anchor the group on the decisions that you've already made, and help define next steps. This is not about control. And let's be really clear about that. Following like a leader is not about taking over. It is not about undermining. It is not talking down the leader that is there. It is not about controlling. It is about elevating the room. It's about raising the bar and reminding us, all of us, of what we're capable of. And this matters more than ever right now with everything that's happening in leadership and in the world. We're living in a time where leadership is often unchecked, unquestioned, unbalanced, and unhinged. And in those environments, blind followership is dangerous. What's needed now more than ever is people who can think independently, speak with clarity, offer perspective, and stay grounded in the truth. So following like a leader means that you just don't go along, you don't just comply, you don't just stay silent, you become a voice of reason, a source of clarity, a stabilizing force, not from ego, but from responsibility. And the core of all of this is a simple idea. You can't escape yourself. You can try, you can adjust, you can adapt, but at some point, who you are will show up. So the real question is, will you show up on purpose or by default? So this is your invitation to stop trying to be less than you are, different than you are, smaller than you are, and instead be yourself, fully, consistently, all the time. Because when you do this, you don't just lead better, you don't just follow better, you create something far more powerful. You create environments where leadership is shared, energy is aligned, and people rise together. So the next time you find yourself holding back, stepping back, trying to be something you're not, ask yourself, am I creating space or am I creating absence? And then choose not to control, not to dominate, but to show up as yourself and make it a great day.